Hello and welcome to another Tech Talk. We have a crowd here that's going to discuss about the future of telco. Or at least we're going to try to talk about it a little bit. Hello everyone. I'm Rene. I'm joined by Mac. Hi Mac. Nicole and Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah. Hi. So awesome. We kind of want to discuss the history of telco and today and the future. So I'll kind of start off by saying some things that I've noticed about the history. It's and yeah. By the way, if anyone wants to ask anything, feel free to ask in the chat. Here you go. Like I'll just say hello in the chat, so you can say ask any questions if you want. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, we can do a short introduction. I worked since 2012 in the A2P application to person industry. In essentially, kind of saw the kind of beginnings of it. And it was interesting to see how it developed and why it developed. So that's kind of cool to see now. It's 10 years after. How is it evolving? What's it becoming, etc. So yeah, Mac, can you share a bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm a developer at Bogio. We are customers of 466
Yep.
and we have a platform that e-commerce shops use to send marketing messages to their customers.
Awesome. Okay, we'll put the link about you guys there.
Yeah, and my name is Daniel Bromster, and I work mainly with the freelance projects, web development. So it's always interesting to learn more about the telecom space and the connection between the web and telecom.
Awesome.
So yeah, and I'm also planning to do a couple of my own projects now. So trying to switch over to run my own projects. So it's extra interesting to learn more about this.
Do you kind of own and
yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Cool. Nicole?
Yeah, I'm Nicole. I'm a developer and sysadmin here at 46 Elves. It's my first job, and I've been here a year, and I'm loving it.
Nice. We love to have you. Like it's been a year.
It's been a year.
It feels like it's been longer.
It's been a year and a month.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, let's get going. Like history of A2P messaging.
Wait, just quick about A2P. What do you mean by A2P?
Application to person. Yeah. So not peer to peer.
Yep.
Yeah. So essentially, like during the 2010s and a little bit before that, we had an emergence of different technologies that were kind of not accessible at the time beforehand. So we had more and more of these providers, cloud providers like DigitalOcean, right, and others that offered you to run a VPS for like $5 or something. And you could run like open source things on it, like mostly Apache, right, and like LAMP.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here and say that for those who don't know what the alternative to a VPS is, that would be like owning like a physical machine, which is your server.
Yeah.
And then that means you have to buy hardware, you have to put it somewhere, and then you have to go there and unplug it and plug it back in if it stops working. So a VPS offers the benefits of not having to do any of that.
Yeah.
And it's quick, right? I think a big thing is that you can like spin up a machine in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you click a few buttons
like,
instead of buying a server, traveling to a data center.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that even just like paying for a server was a bit complicated. Like you use like PayPal, I guess, and like, but it was still like it was difficult. So
yeah. So we had an emergence of accessible servers, right? That you can spin up fast. That you don't have to like go to Oracle or SAP or like who else? The big shot of Microsoft.
Yeah, Azure.
You can like just do your own thing. You don't have to buy a license. You don't have to like have a business meeting with someone. You can just go ahead and start it up. And with that came the REST API. So we had like SOAP, XML. But with the beginning of like REST API and everything being kind of pushed in the cloud and in the API realm, there was more and more of developers kind of have the power of the tech stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I saw is having kind of more and more of a push from aggregators that started to appear, like startups. They said, hey, like we have this technology where we can like just like plug in these developers easily into using your networks, telecoms. Let's do it. And so that kind of applied more and more pressure on telecoms to have them kind of build a sort of a infrastructure that will allow aggregators to use them a bit more. So that's something interesting, I guess. So yeah, I don't know if you have any comments on that.
I think it's interesting the whole like shift towards developers, because I've heard somewhere, and I can't remember who said that, like one of the big like innovations of AWS was to take everybody but the developer out of the purchasing decision. Like you put your credit card in once, and then after that, like you can spend up whatever you want. Like you can rack up like $100,000 on that card, and like that's up to you, like the developer. Whereas before, like if you wanted to buy a new server, you would have to like go through like the purchasing department. They would have to like approve the cost, and there's all this like
Figure
all
out
these people-
shipping. Figure out who gets things where.
yeah, and all these people can say no, right? Whereas like if you just add your card to AWS, you can like basically as a developer spend as much as you can without getting fired. Like there's no red tape, which is like a huge shift. Like and like getting people to accept that. It's actually really strange that people do accept that. Like when you think about it, but it's
It's kind of like having it's no longer a discussion of like kind of it stopped being a B2B discussion, like the whole discussion about software development. I think that's the thing that happened, right?
what do you mean?
Like in a sense, like it was more of a B2B discussion.
Mm-hmm.
The software development, you had to have like being a freelancer. I think was quite tougher, perhaps. That you could perhaps share a bit more, but like it probably was a bit more complicated than today, where a freelancer has like a lot of power to spin up like a lot of infrastructure by him or herself, right? Like I imagine like 20 years ago, being a freelancer was a different game.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, for web development, and have been services for so long that you can use. It's only if you need to do something very custom that you need another environment to work in. So, but it's much more easy today to start up something and try out stuff and so on.
What was the like when you developed something and there wasn't still a nice platform for a VPS? How did it? Like, can you share your experience? How did you have to like physically install a server?
Yeah. It's called co-location.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy your server, you can install it yourself, and if you're lucky, you get a remote management card, so you can control it if something happens, something goes wrong.
All right.
And then you actually put the hardware into a rack, and then you pay rent for electricity and the connection, and everything. So that's how we did it 10 years ago.
It's actually
that's actually a fun thing. That is how 460 actually does it, at least in the Uppsala server hall.
Yeah.
So we're co-renting one rack or half a rack, and we have one server there, and another company has a few servers.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because like there's a there's the last year or so, there's been a bit of a push towards going back to that because like the costs of, especially if you look at the big three like Azure and GCP and AWS, like the costs are so large compared to like even just like if you rent a physical server, like a full physical server, not VPS, like the costs are just like so much more cheaper.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, not in terms of like, but like in an apples to apples, if you were to rent like 64 cores of it on AWS versus like just like renting or buying like a 64 core server, like it's really easy to make the math work for like the dedicated server. Like, it's like you've got a headset and or whatever provider, and you can get like a really beefy machine for like £1,000 a month, or an insanely beefy machine for £1,000 a month. And like Rails, so we do a bunch of stuff in Rails. They just shipped like in the default Rails installation, this tool called Kamal, which lets you like basically spin up Rails on dedicated machines. So like in the framework, there's support for like not running on like a platform as a service, but like actually like, running your own hardware and stuff like that. And again, because of like, because of cops and like. And again, the tooling's getting better all the time for doing this. I think a lot of the sell before was like, well, it's nice not to have to deal with that stuff. But a lot of it was just because the tooling was bad, it felt like. And that's getting better all the time as well. So I can see a push back towards like actual physical servers.
So like with this iReader push and telecoms responding and developers being aware that you can like actually through a REST API call you can send a text message or make a phone call. There were other developments that happened in regards of more telco infrastructure investment, like 3G, 4G, 5G. Recently, in 2020, I think it really took off. So having those and with developing better batteries, I guess, on phones, it opened up a bit of more channels now that you can use on your phone. So that was an interesting moment. I'm sure you all remember, like when I know I remember when you had like mobile internet. You just like turn on mobile internet for a while because it sucked up your battery so bad. You had to like turn it on for 10 minutes so it syncs. Then you get all of the relevant things. And then you turn it off.
I think I'm too young for that.
Yeah. We can share. Of course.
No, thank you. I have enough battery anxiety as it is.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but I do remember like the data counts being so low that it was like it was basically unusable. Like if you had the cheapest plan, like it was you could barely check the news and stuff like that. But like yeah, so like I had like when Twitter first came on, they had like an SMS function that let you like receive tweets via SMS. It was crazy. Like if I remember correctly, like you know, every tweet on your timeline would like you could subscribe to it as like an SMS and then just send out an SMS to you, which was great. Like if you don't have much data, like you know you can send. I'm pretty sure you could like send tweets as well. Like I send it an SMS. So
No.
it's not that long ago. Right?
No,
it's
like
what,
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say 10.
Yeah.
I feel young, but yeah.
Yeah. It's like it kind of like allowed the OTT messaging platforms as well, right?
OTT?
Yeah, over the top. Like it's like WhatsApps or
alright.
and messengers and telegrams and signals and what have you not. They kind of compete between each other with perhaps better encryptions. Like Signal has encryptions, like Telegram has something, right? I don't know to what extent. A bit less, I guess, than Signal.
I'm actually not sure why people use Telegram.
It's because other people use Telegram.
Yeah.
But there's no like feature where it's like.
I don't think so. You can actually you can send very big files over Telegram.
Okay.
That's like the one thing where Telegram is more useful than other messaging
It's
things.
also incredibly suspect.
It's very much like we're seeing like a development of this omni-channel thing. Like it's more and more going forward, then you have like on your phone, you have the SMS, you have the email readily available, you have WhatsApp, you have, depending on like what you use, you have multitudes of applications that send you push notifications, right? That was the thing also. So like with battery and with mobile phones, with the mobile internet, that's kind of more and more. But yeah. So, but like going to today, right? We have the omni-channel a lot. We have now a development of RCS. I don't know. I never heard about it.
Sounds familiar, but maybe I want to mention what it stands for.
Do you have an iPhone?
No.
Oh,
That's great.
We never had any Apple product today. Honestly.
wonderful.
So like, I think RCS already rolled out on Android phones.
Yeah, it has been a thing for a
Yeah.
great many years.
Yeah. So like, it stands for Rich Communication Services, right?
Yeah.
And it's essentially kind of a replacement for all of the other messaging apps.
Yeah.
Like it has multimedia, it has like
Read receipts.
read receipts, like is typing, events, buttons instead of hyperlinks.
So I noticed with some contacts that you can see a little more information than normal with SMS. You can see if it's been read. And
So Android messaging apps, they can, depending on the capabilities of both devices, can like on the fly swap between SMS and RCS.
Okay.
And you can't really decide that. It's up to the
I think I
technology.
can sometimes switch to. It said switch to SMS, for example.
All right. Yeah.
Because this is dependent on mobile data, I guess. So if the recipient don't.
Actually, is it?
Yeah, it is if the carrier doesn't supply. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
But
So sometimes an SMS can go through, but RCS is dependent on mobile data.
All right.
So like that's interesting to hear because we have like an experience of people having interaction with RCS, and it seems like it's seamless. Like you don't know exactly if this is an SMS or RCS. You can like notice it with some small details.
It is seamless.
Yeah.
Unless you want to send like videos.
It seems to be kind of default in recent Android versions because if you send it by SMS, you will get a notice every time.
Yeah. It's kind of like, but I think that's the point, right? You want to have like seamless integration. But yeah, so we have omni-channel, we have AI-driven kind of messaging that uses all of these medias like RCS and RBM, and because of all of these interactions that you can do with RCS, also called RBM if you go into the A2P world, application to.
What does RBM stand for?
Rich business messaging.
Brr.
Yeah. It's like it's like RCS is peer to peer, and RBM is like A to B. And like now we're like heading like what we had like in 2000s, mid 2000s, we had A to B, like with SMS. Like we're now getting at the stage where we want to have like a similar thing with RBM or RCS, where we have a ton of different solutions, like different messaging apps that we all use depending on our groups, I guess, social groups. And like it would be so much nicer if we just had like a same native application for all of our communication, at least like the most of it. So if someone wants to be a part of something like a group or anything, like I'm not sure if like you can create chat groups in RCS. You can.
I'm not sure you can create like an actual group, but you can like have
multiple receivers.
Yeah, who knows if that could be like a thing that they improve on? If that's even possible. How would they do that? That's interesting. I don't know.
I mean, I know that you can have like group conversations.
Okay.
But I'm not sure you can
like
have,
name them and everything.
I'm not sure you can do that.
Like naming groups feels like it could be client side too. Or maybe that could be a workaround.
Well, I think it's like iMessage now. Like you can send an iMessage to more than one person, and you can have like a group, but the group is just everybody in the chat. You can't have like the same group of people in two different chats. It's but
Yeah, like these types of applications, like messaging applications, they give more flexibility there. Like you can put like a small icon or avatar for that group. Like you can name the group. Like all the things you kind of got used to.
Send gifts.
That's important. Like okay, you could probably like RCS doesn't have a problem with kids, I could presume.
Like,
Yeah.
I really don't message people enough with SMS or RCS.
I have sent an RCS gift.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It works. Yeah.
That's the future. Like if you can or cannot send the gift, that's kind of
What is the file size limit of RCS messages? Because for an MMS, I think it's 350K.
I think that's where it gets complicated. Because if you look at, so I've only tested it through RBM, like the Google
Business suite.
business, yeah. And they have their own like API constraints, and whether that's like a constraint of RCS itself or whether that's just like an API constraint on that side, like I'm not sure, because like all of these images and wherever they need to be hosted somewhere, and I'm not sure exactly how that translates to what is sent to the carriers and what they accept. And I'm not even sure the carriers know, like, it's complicated.
Yeah. Let's talk about the future, right? Like RBM can be, or RCS can be a future of telco. But the thing is with telecom operators is data, right? So we all kind of look at telecom operators as providers of good, stable, fast internet.
For us, it's just a connection. For them, it's a ton of data.
Yeah. So like, but these devices that you have around, like everything is IoT, and like I know like Teslas when you go to your house and it hooks up to your Wi-Fi, I've heard people like it uploads like 20 gigs of data, like not like 200 megs, but like 20 gigs of data for a couple of drive. I don't know why. Like it does like a lot of, I guess it sends out video. I don't know.
Is this a US thing or does this happen in the EU too?
I heard it's a US thing for sure, but I'm not sure if it happens in the EU. So
someone should really show them GZIP.
Sorry?
Someone should show them GZIP.
Yeah.
BZIP.
Yeah. Just imagine like there's thousands and thousands upon thousands of cars. They have like this huge amount of traffic, and like without the Wi-Fi, I presume like they would like use something else. So is the future of having like private 5G networks or like having 5G networks be very or whatever 6G be focused on something like on very IoT things? It's very interesting, like to think about it, right? Like building a grid that kind of only supports IoT and IoT protocols and like stuff like that. Like it's the future. Like we can
The
talk
perfect
about
hacking network.
Yeah, could be.
I actually looked into that because I really wanted to like I had this idea where I would like build a pair of like basically lights, and when you touch one, it would light up the other as like a cozy whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have Wi-Fi because then you'd have to do the whole setup and stuff like that. So I was like, well, you could just like ship a SIM card and preload it with like 10 megabytes of data.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a 1 and 0 over the wire, so that's going to be like plenty enough for a long time. Yeah. But yeah, it's really it's difficult. Like,
what's the protocol called that it's used a lot for IoT, and they have like really...
Zigbee.
No. Like it's a kind of a communication protocol. I forgot.
Zigbee, Z-Wave.
No, that's all like brand names. Like that's I'm talking about a protocol for like
NRF, ESB.
No,
LoRa.
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 LoRa. Yes, LoRa. Like they've done, like I've seen like it works like on 30, 40 kilometers away. Like in places where, yeah, and like it does exactly what you said, like bits, and it works.
It's
Like
really slow, but it's really reliable.
yeah, because out of a smart meter, you don't need like you need a
You need one number out.
yeah, you need a couple of bytes, right? So like is like LoRaWAN and LoRa, is that like a thing for the future also? Like I don't know.
This is like way off topic, but like I saw a blog post the other week about this guy that got he had like a microcontroller and he got LoRa working over one of the pins, like used the pin as the antenna, and got that working, like with not with the same range, but like enough range to make it useful.
Yeah.
So he used a non-LoRa microcontroller, and he just brute forced a bunch of signals into one pin on the microcontroller and magically sent messages.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So he used a microcontroller that can't do LoRa, and he did LoRa with it anyway.
I know there are some LoRa initiatives. I don't know if it's like official.
There's one in Uppsala.
Yeah.
I haven't been involved in it, but I've seen them somewhere. So
yeah. It doesn't like you put one antenna or
I'm not the LoRa guy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You put one, it like
somebody.
works on 20 kilometers or something. Like it's like
That sounds rather optimistic.
it does work a lot. Like it's not like you have to put it every kilometer or something. It works. I know, like for a fact in Croatia, like we can pick up some from Italy. Yeah, sometimes I don't know. It bounces off.
It might be at night when it's like the perfect,
It could be,
perfect cloud.
but nevertheless,
We're in Croatia and we're in Italy.
yeah, that's a good one. Like in best case scenario, it's always like 50 kilometers, like distance, direct distance. So like
Line of sight.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's I don't know. Like essentially, one of the things that could be a future of telecom should be, I think, is like global standardization. Like we have the GSM protocol, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like making more of these standards, but for other things.
I think we should all make our own standard.
Yeah.
And that way, like we can all have a standard.
Yeah.
But you have to pick which one you want to use.
That's exactly the opposite. Like, yeah, I love your enthusiasm, but yeah, it's it gets tricky because we have like, do we want to support a certain protocol that works for IoT like LoRaWAN, or like global standardization of that, and it's very. I think it's an interesting topic because it's kind of. It's like at one point we have IoT that requires minimum data to work and to deliver good pieces of information or data, right? But valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But at the other side we have
high bandwidth.
Yeah, and AR.
AR
right, and
over
VR
wireless.
that we're going to have. Like I'm going to have a pop-up of an ad here on my glasses. I don't know, in 10 years, something like that. Or a call, or like something, or like a notification that I need to leave the building in 10 minutes because it will close or something like that.
This brings, like with LoRa, that just made me think of, imagine having a distributed network.
Yeah.
So instead of having like 3, 4, or even one major telecom provider, it's run by the public. So sort of like the Tor network.
Mm.
So anyone can have their own SMS 2.0 transceiver and help extend the range for everyone else. That could be cool.
There are people that are doing that. I can't remember the name of the project, but we actually had something pretty similar to that in
Helium?
Sweden. Maybe Helium, yeah. But we had something. I can't remember. I think it was. If it was sponsored by the Pirate Bay, or there was some affiliation with the Pirate Bay where you could like open up your Wi-Fi router and let anybody use it.
Oh God!
And like as a way of like plausible deniability, basically, where like and if everybody's router is open,
Yeah.
then you can't can't say, oh, the traffic came from this IP address, so you must have
1,000.
Yeah. And it was I don't think it was super popular, but it was like people did it. I mean, we did it on our router at home.
It sounds like a security nightmare.
It probably was. Probably. Yeah. But I mean, it was the same kind of idea. Like, I mean, then no one would have to pay for Wi-Fi because like you just share it. Everybody shares what they have.
Yeah. Do you feel like coming down? Like, let's talk about routers and like stuff. We already have an initiative where you can put your own router, right? You don't have to have your telecom router anymore. Like, do you see the telecoms opening up their ecosystems even more? Like, will they have to? Like, in a sense of opening up their, because there's a lot of things that are a lot of useful data, a lot of useful like features in telecoms that are kind of behind the wall now.
Do you have any examples?
Like one of the examples is kind of like, okay, like location. Like you can find out what station, where the SMS was sent through a certain relay station. How do you say it? Like, yeah. So like that could be used for like having an understanding of a location of a certain. It doesn't have to be like an IoT device or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily an SMS or peer-to-peer. Like it can help you understand. There's a lot of usage. Nothing comes to mind, right? When someone asks you.
Yeah, and it sounds like a security nightmare that as well. Like,
no, but
if it's open and like if there was like an API for checking, okay, device number 67, where is it?
You already have an initiative. I like GSMA. They have like an initiative where they have already opened up. You have it on GitHub. They have already opened up some things. I'll send it to you. I'll share it in the link.
Yeah, this sounds really interesting.
Yeah, they have already opened up something. They are aware that they need to open up their ecosystems with it. Yeah, I'll share and I'll give it to you. I'll share the link with you. Like we talked about it. Me and Martin talked about it. So definitely, I think that they need to open up their ecosystems and need to enable kind of like an API something with developers. That would be cool. I guess.
I would just be really happy if provision worked. Like if you could provision stuff through an API. I have this device. Please give it a SIM card. And like use this part data or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be like Twilio has something similar. I think I'm not sure how well it works. Like,
all right.
So,
and also for calls, if you want to have some automatic answering, like with the AI hype now. I mean, if you want to have some AI guy answering your phone, how would you do that with your mobile operator? How would you get in with your software? Use your mobile number.
That's a good point. Like, I've wanted that like forever.
I heard everybody wants that. Yeah. But what is the blocking this development?
Well, actually, like you could deploy now. We can do a voice call, and we can like put a chat GPT something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like not with my phone number.
Yeah, the mobile phone.
No,
like I could like get an Alex number.
Yeah,
and I can do it through.
Okay, I misunderstood. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like letting people use their own phone number, like via an API.
Mm.
I mean, plug. But you can. I'm pretty sure you can import your number into 46Alex and use it through 46Alex. But like, you can do it. People do that. But
people do that. Yeah.
But then you're not going to have your phone number in your phone.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure how it works with like, do you still own the phone number or is it part of like it's? You'd have to check that.
It kind of depends, I think, but like you can actually like have some paperwork done. So like, but like you can just like route it. I think also. I'm not completely sure.
I think, but I would ask that people don't hold me legally accountable to this. But you are allowed to port any number from any operator, and an operator can't really say no. You cannot port this.
Yeah, it's kind of like your number, right? Yeah.
Like you own the number, but you own the number.
Yeah.
But you can say that, okay, I want this number to be with this company or this company or this company.
I'm sure you can. Like, there's some people with that. I'm sure you can, especially in the EU. But yeah, that could be then a thing. Like, you take that number and you put it into.
Yeah. I guess, you could do that, for example, with a specific phone number. But the actual subscription that you have with your mobile phone, I guess that's another thing. It's not so easy to work with your own subscription, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like when you get a cell phone plan, you get a SIM card, you get data, you get all the things you expect. But can't you ask to change your number but keep your plan? Is that a thing you can do with like a normal operator?
I think so. Yeah.
So if you can change your number with an operator without changing what you pay or the service agreement, imagine if you could do that yourself. That opens up a lot of doors, a lot of cool ones and a lot of scary ones.
They're the best doors, right?
That's the question we kind of also like wanted to mention, like because it's quite relevant because of RCS and RBM, like kind of going back into today. Like the question is, are telecom operators going to double down on RCS, RBM, make it super easy and seamless to use, and like I don't want to use WhatsApp because like this is
because RCS is so much better.
Like it works. Like why should I? And like it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And like WhatsApp has.
Yeah, that's also one thing that you should be able to control yourself. For example, if I want to have some software answering my messages to my phone, okay, I can run some software on my phone that's actually automatically sending stuff, but I would rather be able to connect to my mobile operator and then set up how the communication should happen.
So essentially, kind of opening up. Basically, go back to like they open up. You can start a developer mode with your.
Oh yes, please.
With your telecom operator.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, actually. Like go to that website and you like kind of do the slider to green.
Yeah.
And, third condition is yes.
You're right. How to exit Vim.
Yeah, that's a test. I would fail. And and that would be cool actually.
Yeah.
Like developer mode, kind of.
I would
like
love that.
it's on you.
Yeah.
Like like your phone could stop working. Not a phone, but like your connection could stop working.
Yeah.
And we might cut your connection if you do extra illegal stuff.
Yeah, like if I'm sure there's some firewalls.
We sign away all our responsibility and give you blah blah blah.
The standard, like we're like you're
on your own. Good luck.
Like we have instances of that somewhere. I don't know.
Because for example, I guess you're aware of an app called Truecaller.
Yeah.
So you can sort out salespeople and stuff. But why don't you have this service, online before they even can reach your phone?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so I have a question. Because I think I'm pretty good at right code. Like, would you, on your primary phone number, would you be comfortable flipping the switch and activating developer mode and running your own code?
On my private phone.
On your primary phone number, the same phone that you get 2FA codes on, the same phone that your mom calls you on.
No.
Me neither.
Probably.
I would play around on another phone, and then I would get brave, and I would then put it on that one, and I test it out.
If I can flip the switch back and revert stuff, then sure. If I can't revert it, then I would have to think a bit more about it.
You need to notice that it's broken. Like if your bank tries to call you 5 times and they get like the Flintstones jingle. Right. then you can't be like, oh, I'm sorry, I activated developer mode. That's why you can't foreclose my house.
Yeah, that's. But I'm sure like 99% of the time it will be used like on a thing you're building.
It's a wee project. It's just like
you do something with your client, and then you have a SIM card, and you have a phone, and you're playing around with it. I'm quite sure you wouldn't like. I don't know. Perhaps you would. Perhaps you want the bank to have a Flintstones ringtone or like something.
Arch Linux SIM card.
But I think it's interesting because I think like one reason why this isn't like built in already is that like a lot of these like telecom networks are built on trust. Like you can't like have phone calls that last
For
200 hours because things break. And I think that if you let people play around like too much with these systems, like it was like with a Flash SMS, right? Flash SMS kind of works, but it's different in every phone, and like
Is it?
yeah, it looks different depending on, and some phones handle it differently. And
Yeah.
at least it used to be the case.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do you want people playing around with this stuff? Like, I mean, like, because then you're gonna have to fix a bunch of broken things that like people didn't realize were broken before because you just stopped.
I want to send an SMS to +46*.
Sounds expensive.
No, I have unlimited SMS.
Unlimited.
Yeah, unlimited SMS in my phone plan. I can just send an SMS to +46* because I have unlimited SMS.
Regexes in the phone app sound like a good time.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
I only want to accept phone calls from insert this long regex here.
Yeah. I like that.
It's kind of like, what could be cool is like having you get a SIM card that's like a developer SIM card.
I would pay for that.
Like you do some paperwork.
Twilio has that. I'm pretty sure Twilio has that.
Really?
What?
I
For US?
Yes. It might actually be an international SIM.
Mm-hmm.
And it might just be a data set. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm pretty sure they have a SIM card and that they have all these hooks into like doing stuff.
Awesome.
I could be wrong.
That sounds very cool.
But like,
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
That's something like I think telecom operators should offer.
I don't think anybody uses it because it's like one of those things that sound really cool, but like,
But what are you actually going to use it for?
yeah. But it's
Cool.
So,
I started thinking that imagine if you could register your name as a phone number, or as a destination for phone calls. So you can have a username, so you can send an SMS to @Nicole or @Mac.
dude, I would love that. Like, because it feels well. You mean that you have a username and that's connected to a number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Like
maybe like a zip address, right?
Yeah, sort of.
It's more like an email address, yeah.
So having a username connected, instead of just having a SIM card connected to your phone number, you could have a SIM card connected to your username.
Username and maybe domain, something like that.
Because then we could capitalize on like the omnichannel stuff, or I say we. Then yeah. So because a lot of people have like a username that they like, or they have 12 variations of it because it's already taken on 14 other websites.
Yeah.
But it would be something that's needed.
Like, let's be real. Like, your phone number is kind of your unique identifier most of the time. Like we, especially like at the beginning of Gmail, I remember reluctantly moving away from Yahoo, silly me, to Gmail. But like that was a thing back then. Like that, Gmail was like a fad. Like I had Yahoo for like 10 years now. Like I'm good. And I'm moving. It kind of like now create an existential crisis. Like moving away from Gmail. Like that was like my life is on Gmail. It's like I think like a lot of people associate themselves with their phone also, like their phone number. Like you had it forever.
Well, I actually tried that. Like, so I had a work phone a few years ago that had its own like phone number. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pay for my own personal number and the work phone, so I'm just going to pause my personal because I was like, well, let's try it and see how much stuff breaks.
Oh god!
And lots of stuff broke. Like PayPal, I couldn't use PayPal because it sent me a 2FA code to that number. I was like, well, is it worth reactivating the number just to receive the 2FA code, just to deactivate it again, and I'm gonna have to pay for a full month. Like, yeah. So like, it's not easy changing numbers. Like, it's
Yeah.
I actually wish that I had like a static number that only I knew, like a personal phone number, so I could use for all that kind of stuff, and never gave it out, never hand it out to anybody, just like codes and whatever, and then have a separate number that was like
essentially unique code phone number.
Yeah.
70.
Yeah, there should be like 12
Yeah.
number long.
Yeah, 12 number, yeah, or 70.
Yeah, 70 number. Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
70. Why not? Nobody can guess it. Not even you.
I'm not sure they have the technology.
Yeah, GSM doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Well, like,
But GSM 2.0.
Actually, I had a great idea when you were talking about the username. There should be like
A checksum.
No, the checksum should absolutely be. There should be a checksum on phone numbers, but there should also have like remember there was a maps company a few years ago where they would like generate 3 random words and it would like point out an area. Where they should have that for phone numbers.
What?
So there was like it would like they
like you're talking
map
about GeoGuessr.
No. They would map the whole world.
Right.
And then they assigned like each small area
Okay.
a 3-word code.
All right.
And then if you were going somewhere, you could just say these 3 words.
Yeah, and plug that in.
Yeah.
So
there should be that for phone numbers.
Yeah.
Because the space must be much smaller, right?
Yeah.
So you could have like less exotic words and like maybe even 2 words. Maybe. That's
yeah.
cool. We should build that.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
This sounds like a hackathon.
Let's do it.
This is a prep hackathon.
Yeah.
And we need to seed it so that our numbers get the coolest words.
Yeah. But so that could be really useful because then you could give out both your phone number and the words,
Mhm.
and if the other person sees or that the messaging thing sees that they don't match,
Yep.
you fucked up.
Yep. And it's stateless, right? So you wouldn't need to store all the numbers. It's just like, yeah. All right.
You could have a hashing function.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hashing function that returns words based on a number.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone has any questions, ask or don't.
Do we have any viewers?
Yeah, we do have some. They come and they go.
Hello, people on the internet.
Hello, people. Cool. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining in and talking about this. It's kind of interesting, I guess. Thanks everyone for joining in online. We see each other next time. Bye.